Yeah, but then that whole scenario that Marcus just brought up, it
Mhm.
speaks to the mindset and the reality that we have. Everybody is free to do what they want.
Mhm.
So that means you have the responsibility. Nobody told you to pick that man, just like nobody told him to pick that woman. And that's the person that you decided that you wanted to be with. And I agree with everybody here that you shouldn't hold somebody in a relationship that long and you don't have any intentions of doing anything with them, right?
Right.
But the reality is that everybody is responsible for themselves. And that if you stayed in a relationship for 8 years, 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, listen, you made a decision, you took a risk on that relationship that didn't ultimately work out to what it is that you wanted. And
So
unfortunately, even if you marry a person, that doesn't mean that that relationship or that marriage is going to be the way that you design it or desire it to be. You're taking a risk regardless. You can only mitigate it, you can't eliminate it.
and that's the thing. So when we start to talk like that, you have to talk like that on both ends. It can't be like, oh, well, that's the risk she took. And then if a man gets played, it's like, oh, in that case, that is also a risk that he has taken, right? Because now we're going into the mindset of everybody's the individual. You got to fend for yourself out here, and that is the problem. Nobody, you're taking morals out the situation, and all that stuff is taken out the all the things that you said you wanted to find in a good mate. All that's taken out because you're saying that shouldn't matter. You should be fending for yourself.
Yeah, because you have the character and the understanding and you're honorable and you're respectful. It's like, listen, I don't want to stop you from doing what you want to do. And also, I did account for the men choosing the wrong women as well previous in my statement. But this is what I'm saying is that this is the argument that people also make when it comes to women is that you said, oh, it's terrible what's happened to us. And we know all of these women that have been in these relationships and been done by these guys. But part of the reason why they chose these guys is because they chose that guy themselves. And then you add in the biological component to it, you see why they chose that guy. And
Yeah.
then after they chose that guy, realized it was a bad decision. It didn't turn out the way that they did because in reality, a lot of people make bad relationship decisions, but all of them don't turn out bad. Like you literally will start that relationship in a way that you know you should not do it. And eventually, some of those relationships will end up working out. We're only talking about you being good because it worked out for you, but it was still a bad decision. It's like on the basketball court. If you choose to shoot a three, right? Most coaches will look at that three and determine if that was a good shot or not. If you took that shot over four people over in that corner, he's going to be like, why would you take that shot? But guess what? The shot goes in. And though the
It
coach
was
is
a gamble.
frustrated,
Right.
the, though, though the coach is frustrated that you took the shot, he's just like, "Ah, you lucky it went in." And that's what we're trying to also get women to understand is that, like, yo, y'all have some culpability in the situation too. You can put a lion's share of some of the problems with women, with men, yes. But I think that where a lot of men get upset when it comes to these conversations in general is that it seems like a lot of women don't actually take responsibility for the fact that they have autonomy. They have rights. They can do whatever they want. They got the opportunity. Just like there was a woman that chose a guy at 22 that it worked out for, and there was a woman that chose a guy at 22, it didn't work out for. We just cry about the L's that we take, which is warranted because nobody want to take an L, but you got to be able to call a spade and realize, yo, it sucks it didn't work out for you. Do what you can to get what you need, but understand, listen, as time goes on, listen, the challenges only continue to grow.
So I agree with everything that you say, and I actually like that. Most people are taking
I'm
gambles
sorry,
out
y'all.
here.
It's hot.
And sometimes the gamble works, and sometimes the gamble does not work. I think the problem with our community is so many that's not working, Okay. When you've got like 70% marriage rate and 30% okay. But when you got 50 and 50, you have a 50% chance of making it. That's just it's almost the point. And when the way we're moving forward, that's decreasing, right? So you have a more chance of the risk being great than the opposite. And I think that is the issue with what's going on today.
I think too, and the mindset is starting to change, and I guess it's just because of the direction. I guess the experiences that men and women are both having in relationships, is that I keep hearing men say that marriage is of no benefit for them, so they don't see the need. But now I'm starting to hear women say that too. And I can't say that the vast majority feels like that, but I think it's starting to build up on both ends. What is the benefit of marriage? What am I going to like? Provided a level of, well, it was a level of security because of the way society was back then. But looking at back then versus now, I don't think that women feel that is necessarily a benefit other than the social aspect of the way society will look at a woman who's married versus an unmarried woman. And I think I sent the article to you, Shan, today that I read about this push now that they are wanting to change the laws based on, like, it's set up that married couples get all of these extra benefits versus single people. And single people are paying like more in taxes and all of this kind of stuff. And that now they want to start changing that so they can still have access to the same benefits that married people have, because society is changing and
do you think that's a good
marriage
change?
is no longer necessarily priority, and the laws that was set up in a different era in which marriage was, something that was going to happen. It was a marriage-based society, whereas now we're moving away from that. So the laws need to change because women aren't necessarily looking for marriage, or they're delaying marriage. And I mean, it was a lot of information in that. So my thing is that, are we fighting a losing battle if it looks like the trajectory is we want to be single but have relationship at the same time without having the marriage commitment?
All right, so do you think people would say, no, they probably wouldn't.
So y'all are probably going to disagree with me, and that's okay. And I'm sorry I got the cam off, but I'm literally still at 6%, going strong. So bear with me. So I was on Ricky's panel last night, and the question came up about what do we message to the boys, to our sons. And the message to my son has been, and we stated this on the panel last night, but my message to my son has been, be careful with your manhood, talking about his piece, his Johnson, whatever word you want to substitute right there. And don't engage in that activity until you think you're ready to marry that woman. That has been my consistent message to him. The consistent message, we didn't really touch on this last night, but my consistent message to my daughter is, that is one of your most prized possessions. Hold on to it until you're ready for marriage. And I said that to say this. A lot of the solution is let these hoes move like hoes. Let these Pookies and Ray Rays move like these Pookies and Ray Rays. However, as a father in the home, raise your young boys into the man that you say you are. Raise your daughter to be the woman that you would be proud to marry. And that to me, from a man's point of view, from the dad perspective, that to me is all we can really do at this point as a solution. Be smart with our Johnsons. Quit creating the chaos that we say we despise. If a woman is moving out of order, let her ass move out of order, not in your path. And I really think it's just about that simple. And I see my time.
And I think so. And I think that what we have to do too is be honest with our kids, and it's to add on to that, AP. I'm sure the woman that you wanted in your 20s is not the woman that you want right now, right? But nobody told you that was going to change. I think that when we talk, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The woman that I wanted wasn't the woman that I needed, and I think that is another problem with, or another issue in regards to, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, Shan. In regards to vetting and how we pick when we're younger.
Absolutely. I think it's important that we give our kids that information, because they're looking at something, because they're most of them are dating and they're not even fully developed yet, right? So I think that is important for us to give them the full picture. Like, that looks real good now. But trust me, for it to be a long-term relationship, these are the things that you should be looking for. We need to talk to our little girls about the same thing. These are the things that you should be looking for. Because when they're out here just doing it on their own, they're thinking from their standpoint of where they are right now. They're not able to see, okay, when I turn 30 and 40, my mind may change, and this may no longer. It seems good right now, but you're not looking like he has no goals. He's like literally just chilling, okay with living in his mom's basement. Or when you look at for your son, she out in the streets, she just out here fighting and bopping. Is this really the woman that you want to raise your kid? I mean, it's so many conversations that we have to have with our children about choosing the right mate, a mate that will be a long-term good fit for them, if that makes sense. So